name is Brianna, and today I'm going to propose to you my game idea for the Doll Art Center called Danger at the Doll. So imagine this. As the night shift security guard sweeps his beaming flashlight across the dark rooms of the museums against the walls, he notices something unusual. A blank space now occupies the display where an unveiled piece of artwork once remained. The grand opening for the museum is in less than 8 hours, and the piece was scheduled to make its grand debut. The finest detective in town is you, and it's up to you to solve this case. The unknown piece of art has been hidden by a mischievous culprit amongst the rest of the art in the museum. Your mission is to identify which piece of art has to make its debut for the grand opening by solving the riddles and the clues left behind by the culprit. The gameplay is really quite simple. Initially, you're going to be given one clue or riddle, and the hints may be based off the style of art, the medium of art used, the history of the piece, or the background of the artist. Once you have solved it correctly, you will be given an explanation of the background of the art that gives you more of an in-depth interpretation of the art itself so that you can connect with it. So, for example, you have 13 sat down to eat in the upper room. The man in the middle spoke of his riddle and how the end was coming soon. 13 sat down to drink before they hit the road. The girl in the middle at the center of the riddle became the painter's code. 13 sat down to talk, but should there have been one more? Dan said yes, but I suggest that only Leo knew for sure. So if you don't know what this is The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. And for each piece of this example, there's a reason behind what is each is said. So for example, the man in the middle refers to Jesus, and the riddle that he was speaking of was the disciple who would finally betray him. The man 13 that sat down is thought to be one of the disciples that was painted but hidden or removed from the painting, and to make it look like that there's the correct number of disciples. So there's a lot of references into these examples that could be tied in to correlate with each painting that could be adapted to the artwork that's presented at the doll. And then each solved hint that's correctly solved will result in an increase in difficulty. And then different rooms within the museums will be able to be unlocked once you progress throughout the game. And then once the missing piece of artwork is identified, an explanation like this will be provided that kind of ties in why the thief initially took which piece of art and hid it for a certain reason. And by doing this, it kind of allows the audience who goes to visit to kind of identify and correlate with the artwork that's presented instead of just seeing what's presented on the canvas right in front of them. Because for every piece of artwork that these artists make, there's a reason why they did it, not just for people to look at it and think that it looks pretty. And then, for every player who is able to solve the case, their name will be entered into a drawing that'll be periodic, preferably based off whenever the rotation of the art is, which could be monthly or every 2 months or every 4 months. And the prize, once you get into the drawing, one winner will be picked, and the prize, I was thinking potentially could be maybe a donated piece of artwork by a local artist if they were willing to do so, or an alternative could be some kind of low budget that the Doll Art Center would provide as a reward. So why does this game work? The most important reason why this game works is it's completely versatile. This could be a paper-based game that anybody could play, or it could be turned into an app game that might be a little more in-depth. This allows for a larger audience range that anybody could play, whether they have the technology or they don't. It can also be adapted to different age groups. One rotation of artwork could be aimed towards younger-aged kids, while one could be aimed towards young adults, or even art professionals who might really enjoy a hard challenge. The low budget and simplicity of it makes it very ideal for an establishment that runs off donations. It makes it really easy to upkeep with it, and all you would have to do would be to change the riddles based on the artwork that comes in and out. And some artwork wouldn't even change, so you could keep some of the same levels of the game. And the gameplay isn't confusing. One of the most frustrating things for players is to get to a game that has 10 pages of instructions that you don't know if you're playing right. There's too many rules, there's too many regulations. But this game is so simple that I think anybody could really play it. But the most important part of this game is that it is incredibly engaging. The purpose of making a game for the Doll Art Center was to get an audience to want to come back. And an audience is only going to want to come back if they can resonate and identify with the art that's there for a reason, not just watching what's right in front of them. So, are there any questions?